door slowly. His drunken eyes softened when he saw Sanu chained in the corner. He smiled, his greed rising like fire. "Cry," he demanded. Sanu's lips trembled. She begged him with weak words, saying her strength was gone, that even if she tried, she could not cry. But Joro, blinded by desire, raised his hand and beat her until her tears came. The drops struck the ground, glittering and hardening into diamonds. Outside, crouched below the cracked window, Fallow saw everything. His chest pounded as he watched Joro kneel and gather the diamonds with greedy fingers, leaving Sanu beating and gasping. Fallow's eyes widened. Stories told to frighten children had come alive before him. A mermaid, diamonds from her tears, and Joro, the man everyone envied, was nothing but a monster. When Joro finally left the room, Fallow slipped away. He climbed the fence, fled into the night, and stumbled back to his home. But sleep never came. The memory of Sano's bruised face haunted him. He tossed on his mat, hearing her chains in his mind. At last, he knew he could not ignore it. He would save her. The next night, Fallow crept back. Again, he went to the same window. Inside, Sanu lay weak, her hands tied not with chains but with ropes. Joro had removed the chains because they caught too deeply, yet he still kept her bound. Fallow tapped lightly on the window frame. Sanu turned her head, her eyes dim but alive. She rolled closer, dragging her tail across the floor. Fallow told her that he would return tomorrow, better prepared. And he kept his word. On the following night, luck seemed to be on his side. Joro had staggered home drunk and left his gate wide open. Fallow waited until silence fell, then slipped inside with a cart ready. At the back window, he found Sanu. Her eyes lit up faintly when she saw him. He untied the ropes, pulled her carefully through the window, and lifted her onto his shoulder. Her body was heavy, but he carried her toward the gate. He laid her gently in the cart and pushed it toward the sea. But Joro woke with a start. He had dreamed of the mermaid vanishing. Uneasy, he stumbled to her room and found it empty. His heart thundered. In panic, he grabbed his hunting gun and stormed outside. At the gate, he saw Fallow pushing the cart away. "Thief!" Joro roared, firing into the night. He missed the shots. Villagers woke from their sleep and poured into the street, following the noise. Soon, a crowd formed, chasing after the commotion, until they all reached the shore. There, Fallow stopped, struggling to lift Sanu from the cart. Joro caught up, his gun in hand. He fired a shot into the air, forcing Fallow to freeze. "Take one more step," Joro growled, "and I'll kill you." The villagers stood behind him, murmuring in confusion. Fallow shouted back that Joro was cruel, that he had enslaved a creature of the sea for his own greed. Joro only laughed bitterly. "She's not even human. What I do with her is none of your business. Nobody cared about me when I was poor. But now that I'm rich, everyone wants to know my secrets." As the two argued, Sanu stared. Weak but determined, she slid from the cart. The waves lapped only a few steps away. With all her strength, she dragged herself across the sand and threw herself into the sea. "No!" Joro screamed. He dropped his gun and ran after her. The moment Sanu touched the water, her body shone. The sea seemed to breathe with her. Joro dived in, thrashing toward her, desperate to drag her back. But the waves rose, higher and higher, as if the ocean itself had woken to protect its child. The villagers stood in silence as the sea swallowed Joro. His cries for help turned to choking gasps. He tried to swim back, but every stroke dragged him deeper. His hands reached out of the foam one last time. Then he was gone. The water grew calm. Only the moonlight rippled on the surface. Fallow dropped to his knees, trembling. The villagers murmured as he told them everything he had seen. Some were in support of his actions and pitied the mermaid, but others were against him, saying he was only jealous of Joro's wealth. By morning, Joro's lifeless body washed up on the shore. He was buried that same day, without honor. Deep in the shining waters, Sanu was finally reunited with her family who had searched for her endlessly. Joy stirred the sea as they embraced her, grateful she had returned alive. The people remembered Joro as a warning. A man who traded love for wealth, kindness for cruelty, and lost everything. And so it was told for generations. Greed may fill your hands, but it will always empty your soul.